to the recap, and this is the special Independence Day edition. I am Olaoluwa Aware, the news lady. I'm now joined by Dr. Nwambu Gabriel. He is the Director General, the Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness. Good evening, Dr. Nwambu Gabriel. Welcome to the recap.
Good evening, and thanks for having me.
Yes, he's speaking to us all the way from the nation's capital, Abuja, Nigeria, I believe. And it is time for us to talk about Nigeria at 65. Are we celebrating today? Is there anything to celebrate? What are we supposed to be talking about and doing at a point like this?
You see, thank you so much for your question. And first of all, it's important to state that an individual that is 64 years, by all standard, cannot be classified as a child. Somebody that is 64 is no longer a child, is expected to have, passed through lots of developmental stages of life, even had his own children and is already a grandpa. Now, the Nigeria, as it affects Nigeria, the nationhood of Nigeria, the nationhood, when comparatively you start, comparing Nigeria with the US, the UK, the Canada, where our people japa and all that, you find out that we could say comparatively that Nigeria as a nation is younger. But the issue we have really in Nigeria is that this is a time, October 1st really should be a time for sober reflection. It's not just a time for you to chill. It's a time for us to do an appraisal, how we have gotten thus far and what has been our major predicament. And then what is, hindering us really from advancing into the League of Community of Nations, where we will become a world power, where our voice, the voice of the Nigerian state would matter, where you have the green passport, in any part of the world, and you will be respected. And then we wouldn't have the brain drain, we wouldn't have the end bad governance protests, we wouldn't have, things that a lot of Nigerians are crying, about poverty, hunger, and all that. The medical doctors we have in Nigeria are even, becoming lesser and lesser every day. After being trained in Nigeria, they look for greener pastures because the salary, as it were, is not even sustaining. It's not sustainable at all. So what is it that is devoid in Nigeria that is attracting people to the advanced countries? These are issues, very pertinent issues we should be asking ourselves. And again, Nigeria seems to be dwelling more on what separates us. We seem to be blaming Lord Lugard. We seem to be blaming, the amalgamation of the Northern and Southern Protectorate in 1914. We seem to be we're looking for people to blame. This is not time to blame people. Some other countries you see, even the US, UK, part of Canada and all that, some of them passed through this period of, they had colonialists too. The Portuguese, and some other part of the world did some level of colonization, and they are not interested in what brought them, how come, banditing, blames here and there. That is what we are doing in Nigeria, and that will not help us. Now we are one as Nigerians. How do we move further? What is the way forward? How do we ensure that we cushion the effect of this economic meltdown we have in Nigeria? What do we do to prosper the yearnings and aspirations of the average Nigerian? That is where we ought to be, not banditing blames, blaming Lord Lugard and all that. No, 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 no. That is not the way to go. Right now, we all are in Nigeria. The average masses, in fact, every Nigerian now, the middle class has been eroded by the hyperinflation we have now. So we just have the rich and the poor in Nigeria. So there is nothing like the middle class right now. So what we should be doing is how do we arrange what economic policies, what is the policy, the policy document of the government? How do we metamorphose from the quagmire for which the country is now to something better? Let's leave blames. The time for blames are gone. So that is my position.
Yes, let us take things up from there. You have spoken well. You talked about Nigerians focusing on what unites us rather than what divides us. So, what exactly are the things that unite us? Because at this point, it's getting more difficult to understand some of the economic challenges that we face, the security issues that we face. They seem to divide us further and they blur that line, between who is right and who is wrong, whether we are united or not. And then what do you think we should be focusing on right now? I mean, we've had a very, very terrific year. It's been a very challenging year. Inflation has been crazy. It's been very challenging for businesses and all. What should we be doing? The president has he's spoken about how what he's doing in different sectors to drive down inflation. It's been promises and promises and policies that seem to be making things worse. But what are we missing? What should we be doing right now?
Yeah, thank you so much once again. You see, what we ought to be doing now is rather than being confrontational, rather than being aggressive, rather than attack on government institutions and establishments, burn down very strategic monuments or structures, break down law and order, and things that would regress Nigeria. I think the best way to go is the talk, the roundtable talk, and the discussion. And rightly, that is what Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is doing now. He is saying that the youth, which constitute over 60% of the Nigerian population, should come on what he named as a confab dialogue, a confab, so that we now discuss where the way to go. We now discuss how to come out from this economic quagmire for which we are. You see, there is no nation that can advance when it is all about war and fights and insults and bandity words here and there. No, it must, even war situations, end in dialogue. So the president has done well to have said that there is a proper plan that has been put in place, to invite the key institutions, especially that represent youth, so that we sit down and then know the way to go, where people will, provide solutions to solving the myriads of problems bedeviling the Nigerian state.
Well, Dr. Gabriel Nwambu, some people see this as a way of patronizing or, cajoling or silencing the Nigerian young people who have been vibrant in recent times, as we've seen in protests and in conversations on and offline. Is conversation coming to sit at a round table, has that ever been the problem of Nigeria? I mean, there have been confabs, and people have asked, there have been information have been gotten from Nigeria. I'm not sure how difficult it is to really get the yearnings and the needs of Nigerians. Has that been a problem? Is having a confab, having people come again to talk and provide solution, after all of the solutions that have been provided all these years, what we need to do really. Because some will tell you that, man, just find a way to reduce the inflation. Just find a way to provide jobs, to provide opportunities. Just find a way to, ensure that elections are free and fair, and make our institutions stronger than some political individuals. But really, I need to ask again, how exactly will a youth confab help with this? People will just come and talk, but how will this ensure that these things are implemented?
Okay, you see, yeah, we've been in Nigeria for quite some time now, and we've been following issues as they unfold. We've had a national confab before now, and a lot of persons have actually come up to critique those confabs, and that's a confab that brought all faces, people from all walks of life, and try to deal with national issues the way it ought to be. But I tell you something, the kind of confab we had like about 10 years or more ago, more than 10 years ago, is not exactly the kind of challenges we have right now. The challenges now have worsened. The challenges now are sort of hydra-headed. It's multidimensional. I think that because of lots of critics that have generated a lot of criticism on previous dialogues, we've never really had a youth dialogue, so to speak. What we had was a national dialogue. But this time, the president is trying to tackle this issue from another dimension, trying to bring in youths together for the first time, really. So I think it might be slightly different from what it used to be. So once that dialogue, which is not supposed to take a long time, instead is going to be for about 30 days or thereabout. So we will now hold him accountable. Let's give him the benefit of doubt, to roll out his own plans. We'll go for the confabs. Then thereafter, after 30 days, after 3 months, after 1 year, we will now be able to say, are we going to hold him accountable right now for doing this? And we have profiled these solutions and he's not doing it. But right now, it is too early to say Mr. President did not do this or did not do that. However, because of the peculiarity, because of the high level of, poverty that has bedeviled the country, some of us are of the opinion that right now we have a refinery in Nigeria owned by Dangote, a Nigerian citizen, that can produce, in fact, it is the largest single train refinery in the world. In other words, if you start ranking them, it's about the third, in the entire world. But in terms of single train, it is the largest. Now, what would Nigeria gain, really? This is a refinery that can produce so much, for more than Nigeria needs for its consumption, and has more than enough for export. I think that it is wiser to allow, petroleum product, that is the crude oil, to be refined in Nigeria, and allow people, free market forces to stabilize the price, not to give a monopoly to a company that hitherto is not really doing well, so that the price is looking for an avenue for the prices to go higher. The PMS, the petroleum product in Nigeria, is like a life wire. As it is going higher, as the prices are going higher, the economic hardship would be on the increase. If I were to advise the president, I would advise the president to say, why this very laudable meeting, a very excellent one, you talked about the youth having a confab that will last for about 30 days. Excellent. But while you are doing that, look for a medium for Dangote refinery to get the supplies of crude oil and let Dangote sell directly to Nigerians. Those who want to buy should buy so that the price of PMS, the price of DPK, and the price of all of that, or the petroleum product, will drop significantly. If the president is able to do that, that will reduce the inflation by about 50%. I tell you the truth. But if you are creating a monopoly, just like somebody who has he has his own refineries, about 4 of them, for 28 years, and the 28 years, none of them is working. He's also busy spending money for maintaining or repairing the refineries. Up till now, it is not working. You now see an individual that has made an investment, and you now want to become a colossus and say that you want to enjoy monopoly and that Dangote should sell directly to you. These are some of the decisions that I think I would advise the president, if I have the opportunity. I opine that he should unbottle the lots of bottlenecks that are there. Let these things go directly to the masses so that the price could significantly be reduced, while he also continues with his CNG gas and all that. But let the price of PMS and all that thing go down significantly, while we now start working on our forex, that is our exchange rate and all that. So these are simple logic, so that you don't have things like brain drain. You don't have Nigerians talking about Japa. When you go there, even when you go abroad and see the kind of jobs a lot of Nigerians are doing, you wouldn't even believe it. You wouldn't even believe it. But everybody thinks it's not even so well out there. Those countries also have their own challenges. But relatively, it is better than Nigeria, they think. Nigerians feel that out there is better. And that is why a lot of people are jeopardizing their lives, putting their lives on the line, taking routes that are not supposed to be out of the conventional way of legitimately traveling. They take some terrible routes where some of them end up dying, on transit and all that. Is that good for a country where you present your green card and people laugh at you? These are things we want to look at on how to really advise Mr. President. We are bringing in, we do not hate Mr. President. We don't hate him. We are only trying to provide solutions on how to move the nation forward. Let it not be that anybody that critique and provide solution is an enemy of government. No, it is not true, except the person does not wish well for this country. What we want is how, whether anybody likes it or not, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be your president until 2027, at least. He is there already as your president. All you need to do is to support him right now and provide solutions on how the country will go forward. Whether you do not like his face, or you do not like the way he speaks his grammar, or you do not like his cap or his hat, that is a personal business. For us as Nigerian citizens, we are interested on how to move the nation forward, how to make Nigeria a better place for our children, the ones that are not yet born.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gabriel Nwambu. This is the recap on Lagos Talks 91.3. I am Olaoluwa Aware, the news lady, and my guest today is Dr. Gabriel Nwambu. We've been talking about Nigeria at the years. Mentioned one or two things that he believes the president should do to put us, in a better situation. But then the conversation continues. On your path, where do you think we are right now as a country? What should we be doing to move this country forward? Those are the kind of conversations fateful, the day being the 1st of October 2024, the Independence Day celebration. And I know the president and the governors, they've had their own celebrations at different points in their states, and in Abuja today, there's been the parade. Although low-key, the location in Abuja has changed from the Eagle Square as usual to somewhere in the Aso Villa, maybe for whatever reason, we don't know. But then the studio lines are now open. So I will call the studio lines. You can call right now. Let's talk. 0201-515-1913. Again, 0201-515-1913. You may also call 0809-191-3913. Again, 0809-191-3913. And the very last one, which is a studio line, a WhatsApp line as well. It is 0809-234-5913. Again, 0809-234-5913. You can send a message on WhatsApp. You can send a voice note via WhatsApp. So let's go for the first call. Hello, good evening. Hey, please ensure you call back once again, 0809-234-5913. That is the number. Hello. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, is this Olaoluwa?
Yes, this is the recap on Lagos Talks 91.3. What's your name? Yes, what's your name?
My name is Obina. Obina.
Obina, from where are you calling?
Yes. From Agege.
Go on, Obina.
You know, I heard your guest at the video there. He said we should complain, we should blame anybody, we should blame the Korean master, we should blame on the guy and all that. We should not support Tinubu, support the president, and work active for the country. The first question we have to ask is, the president that we have to support, that we have to join together to see how we go to solve the situation in the country. Is it receptive of ideas? Is it receptive of solutions? And does it take advice? Does it take advice from those who give good advices on what to do to move the country forward? It doesn't take advices. Instead, it takes advices from those who are not competent, those of the ministers or those. Because it does things on its own. It feels the Alpha and Omega. His views are final. His views are final. He doesn't take advice from those who are competent, from the economists, from those who can run, can move the country forward. Don't take advice. That's right.
Obina, Obina, if I may ask, how did you come to that conclusion, Obina?
How did I come to that conclusion? It's very glaring. You can see it's very glaring. Look at the economy. Look at the price of goods and services. Look at inflation. Look at everything have gone haywire, have gone south. That means he doesn't take advice and he doesn't care. He does things, he sees that his own opinion his own opinion is right. He thinks it's right all the time. That's the kind of person he is. That's the kind of person
what do you now make of his decision to organize a 30-day youth confab for people to come from different parts of the country, young people, and table their requests to the government? Will that solve the problem?
Yes, that will not solve the problem as well. That is a jamboree. That is, you just want to make money, make tax resources in convoking of youth. Why don't we complain a sovereign national conference that they've been told to complain for quite a long time? Why didn't we complain a sovereign national conference? Why didn't we do that? I want to do a conference of coming together of the youth from different ethnic groups. So that will not work. As I say, because that, for me, that is a platform for him to influence the supporting in 2037 re-election due. People are short. We want to use that as an opportunity to influence the youth, to convince the youth, to make the youth to begin to support him for 2037. Everything he does is because of 2037. But this man has become so despotic. He's a dictator. He's already a despotic dictator. There's nothing you can do about it.
So, Obina, if I get you clearly, a sovereign national conference or confab of some sort is the solution, is the way forward, right?
Yes, it's not the way forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution there. Dr. Gabriel, one of the things he mentioned, he is of the opinion that the 30 days youth confab It's another strategy to win the vote of the youths or to win the young people over in preparation for the 2027 election. You believe it's all about politics and it's just a strategy. Do you agree?
I do not agree. You know, I think that the president is also pained by the situation, the current situation in the country. Recall that the president did not inherit a very juicy economy, full of goodies and all that. He inherited a battered economy. I am not standing in for Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief. I'm not speaking for him. I'm not his spokesperson. But what I'm saying is that now that he is our president, can we look for possible ways forward to assist in ensuring that Nigeria becomes a better place? That's all I'm speaking. What I think is that for the first time, the president has come out, he has unraveled a plan for a dialogue. Let's give him this a chance. Let's give him the benefit of that. Let's stop this antagonistic thing. Okay, if you say you do not want a youth dialogue, what do you want? We have youths that are PhD holders. We have youths that are professors. We have youths that are, that have, thrived very well in their various field of endeavor, in Nigeria. So if the president decides that he wants to have a dialogue with the youth, I don't think it's a bad idea. Let's not continue with, if you are condemning that he shouldn't have a youth conference. So give us your own suggestions. It's not just blaming. When you blame, you profile solutions so that we know that you are. So most of his arguments, I do not buy into. I'm a management scientist, by my profession. I'm a management scientist and I'm a scholar. So I believe more on empirical studies rather than hearsays that has not been tested, to have scientific proofs. So I do not believe on just hearsays. I love when things are properly analyzed in an empirical form, so that when you will be speaking, you'll be speaking from the point of an informed scholar, not just coming to blame.
Thank you, Dr. Nwambu. Now, let's get to WhatsApp and take some messages. GD from Moshodi says, all the solutions they discussed at the last confab are still in the cooler in Aso Rock. The president is just trying to buy himself some time. That is GD from Oshodi. And there's another message. Oh, this one is a long one. Good evening, all. He should build industries, create enabling environment for businesses to thrive, tackle insecurity for farmers to farm. Calling the youth together to ask them what they want is like playing an ostrich. He said he knows Nigerians' problems and have been warming up for it for more than 30 years now. Let him simply implement Jonathan's conference instead of a new national conference. Nothing to celebrate in this country. That's from Chief Udo. And Chief Udo he is reacting to the fact that Dr. Gabriel is looking for civil language. But he said some politicians are not civil in their behavior and they don't obey the law of the land. He says if the president inherited a battered economy, let him probe past government. This was how we gave Buhari 8 years and he ruined our economy. We can't be fools again. So that is the reaction there from Chief Udo. There's also another voice note here that we're going to play before we call it a day. But before we do that, Dr. Gabriel Nwambu, I've been meaning to also get your perspective on this. There are insinuations that the president is trying to, reshuffle his cabinet, so to say. And when this is another Independence Day, Nigerians are wondering whether the ministers of the president are doing well. And some of them they've listed names of people that should go, people that should stay. Are we right there? are we at that point when we should be letting some ministers go and keeping some, bringing in new hands to try new policies and try new things?
Yes, thank you so much. You see, upon constitution of the cabinet, the president made it very, very clear, at the national conference, international conference center, where he had a training, a sort of a retreat with the ministers upon appointment. He made it very clear to them. He said to them that those who do not perform, well, will be shown the way out. So if the president has brought in terms of reference, he knows how to do an appraisal for each of his ministers. And he finds out that there are some that are very obvious that they are just like food is ready, the president has the liberty, constitutional power to relieve those ministers of the appointment and bring in Nigerians that are very competent to take up the affairs of such ministries and then do the needful. However, there are ministers, which, have performed creditably well. You see, if you come to the FCT and you've not visited the FCT, let's say in 2 years from now, if you come to the FCT now, you will be amazed at the kind of development that the Honorable Minister of FCT is doing in Abuja. So for such ministers that have performed creditably well, we'll say kudos to them. Nwambu, barrister, has performed creditably well. We also have David Umahi, who has...
From Nwambu, I mean, I have seen some lists put together by some people, and from several lists, some people believe that it is one of the ministers that should go, and they hinge this on some of these political activities, even in River State, and his utterances at different points and all. What do you say to this?
No, I differ in such thoughts. If you live in the FCT where I live, you will know that the difference is clear. I do not know Nwambu personally, and I have never met him. What I'm saying is based on the physical work, that is going on day and night in the FCT. We have seen a lot of flyovers that were abandoned since the creation of the FCT. These flyovers, have come to life and people are using it. We have seen areas that used to be like a dungeon, you see roads, fresh roads go through those areas and people are happy and they are living there. We have also seen a significant improvement in terms of security, as it affects the FCT. Some persons might say his political activities. Well, I do not know because I have not seen or heard when the Honorable Minister of the FCT said certain things that are derogatory or have used insinuations that are unbecoming of a public office holder. I have not seen that. I have not heard that. Probably
Okay.
they will educate us more.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gabriel Nwambu. We have to go now. Our time is up. Thank you very much for your time on the recap today. There are more messages here. Someone said, calling the youth together is absolutely unnecessary. We need cattle ranching in Nigeria and part-time National Assembly. That is his own solution to the problem some of the challenges we have today. Perhaps we'll continue this conversation on Saturday on the conversation. I am Olaoluwa with the Newsly. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Coming up is Tech Tips. Stick around.